In order to make sure you don't miss any of my videos, make sure to scroll down and next to the subscribe button, hit that little bell, and then click send all notifications and save. What's going on, guys? So this is going to be my first episode in my E3 leaks, rumors, news series, for this year's E3. And this episode is going to be just about Microsoft and Xbox. Now, it may also only be the only one about Xbox, and I'll explain why as the video goes on. There's really not much else out there aside from this. But I'm going to have tons of videos about PlayStation and third parties, probably some stuff about Nintendo as well. But without further ado, let's get on to this video. So this is just about Xbox. If we go back to last E3, and we go on NeoGAF and the threads about the Xbox Scorpio when it was first announced, there's conversation going on amongst multiple people. One guy says it definitely seems like Microsoft is treating this as a brand new generation. They're very careful to say Project Scorpio rather than Xbox One Scorpio or anything like that. And then another guy responds to him by saying, no, going by Phil Spencer's words, it's quite the opposite. So this guy believes it's another Xbox One, kind of like the PS4 Pro. Here's the thing though. We go on to another post, this one by TheRatedD, who's a known Sony insider. He's teased various things in the past, he's been right. This guy responds to the other guy's post by saying, rubbish. New, more powerful hardware. Backwards compatibility included. No stipulation to support both platforms with new releases. It's a new generation. PR saying it isn't doesn't make it so. And then Gopher also says in regards to Phil Spencer talking about how there's no 4K mandate, developers can do what they want with the Scorpio. Gopher responds by saying, that makes zero sense. This is what happens when you get caught rushing to do a paper PR launch and no one ends up on message. So it seems like Microsoft weren't exactly sure what Sony was doing with the PS4 Pro, and they rushed to halfway announce a new system, but not fully announce a new system, you know what I mean? In last E3, you guys may remember, it wasn't just miscommunication about the Scorpio. Yes, the Scorpio had tons of miscommunication. It was a total mess. But the Xbox One S also had its fair share of miscommunication. The Xbox One S was reported as being more powerful than the original Xbox One. Then people were saying it wasn't. It turns out it was. Not much, but it was. So, again, tons of miscommunication all over the place. Microsoft can't, like this guy says, they're all off. It's crazy. And then he has one more post that really stood out to me, where this guy says Xbox Scorpio is Xbox One. And Gopher responds by saying you can say it as many times as you like, but Scorpio is a new generation. So it seems like Gopher, who's a known Sony insider, is fairly adamant about his belief that the Scorpio is a new Xbox system, the Xbox 2, whatever. And if you look at Phil Spencer's Twitter, we know Scalebound got canceled. So many issues with games on the Xbox side of things. And this is really why, I didn't really have much I can talk about in regards to the Xbox brand aside from the new console. Shinobi also said he doesn't know about anything. He's talked to people in Microsoft that don't know about anything. But Phil Spencer says this. So this dude asks him, will we see a new IP on Xbox this year or next year that wasn't mentioned before? And Phil Spencer responds with saying, Xbox One games shipping this year are different for us. Not Halo first-person shooter Gears led. New experiences with different IP will be a fun year. So we don't really know about anything. We don't in regards to games. Heck, we don't really know much about the Scorpio either. Microsoft themselves haven't put out much information accurately with everybody on point in regards to the messaging for Scorpio. If so many people are clueless as to what's actually going on with the games, if there's so much miscommunication about the Scorpio, to where they can even, it's not just the Scorpio, like I said, there was miscommunication about the Xbox One S, could it be that Microsoft is in fact in the middle of a transition to the next gen? Now here's another thing, and I'll bring up some more posts from this guy in future videos about PlayStation, but he's a writer for a PlayStation fan site. He said, so there's a guy that's talking to him about the PS4 Pro and, you know, fans, you know, sounding really loud when really pushing the hardware, games pushing the hardware with 4K, this and that. And he says that he hopes that this issue will be resolved for the PS5 to where the fans aren't so loud. Now this guy, he responds with saying that will be fixed, just like Scorpio. Both will have enough power to where it won't have to strain itself. So here you have another guy who, like I said, I'll talk about some of his posts in future videos, specifically in regards to Bloodborne. He seems to have some sort of insider information. And when he says he's comparing the PlayStation 5 to the Xbox Scorpio, we don't know what in the world is going on with the Xbox brand right now. We don't know about games. We don't even know much about the system itself, the Scorpio. But Gopher, who's a known Sony insider, is saying that the Scorpio is a new gen Xbox. Could it be that Microsoft is going to announce their next gen Xbox at E3 with a batch of launch games that we know nothing about, and it's also backwards compatible, so you're gonna get Xbox One and PS4 games on there, multiplats? Could it be that that's what Microsoft is doing, and they're just really keeping this stuff under wraps so that they're not going to have anything spoiled? Because in the past, they've had entire E3 conferences spoiled months in advance. I don't know, but it seems to me like that may actually be the case. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think that Microsoft is going to go all out with a brand new Xbox this E3? You know, it really seems like it in my eyes. If nothing else, at least the Scorpio is going to be like, you know, the PS4 Pro. But I don't know, dude. They seem to have a lot of stuff, you know, under wraps right now. But anyway, that's it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. Keep it frosty, and definitely stay tuned for future videos about PlayStation as well as other multi-plats. Thanks for watching. Guess what?